Hey, and welcome to the double bass warm-up section. Now, this is a great section to start out with, and the reason being is your legs are big muscles. So if you start off playing the drums just by starting off with a blast beat at 200 beats per minute, you run the risk of hurting yourself. You're also not going to be able to play to your full potential. You're going to get tired quicker. There's a lot of reasons why you should warm up, and it shouldn't take you too long. I'm going to teach you a few exercises here that are great for practicing. They're great for even playing into beats if you want. You don't have to use them just for warm-ups, but they're great warm-ups as well. So before we even get going on that, I'm going to teach you one quick stretch that you can do. And what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to put both feet on my pedals, and I'm just going to start warming up my ankles and shins. By doing this, I'm just going to do circular rotations. So all I'm doing basically is swiveling my back heel back and forth, trying to do circles, maybe go up and down, anything just to kind of start moving my muscles around. And it's going to start bringing some blood to those areas. It's going to warm up and stretch my muscles. You got to think of it like when you're going to the gym and you're going to start lifting dumbbells. You don't start with 40 pounds, 50 pounds, however strong you are right away. You want to start with smaller ones and build up to that. Same thing with double bass, because these are your muscles. You want to make sure they're warm, you have blood flowing to them, and they're stretched. So nothing special. Just make sure that you start warming up your ankles before a show. You don't even need to have pedals for this. You can just go right to the side and do it on the floor, just to start getting something going. Now let's start with the first bass drum warm-up. Now for the first warm-up, and actually for any of these warm-ups, what I like to do is lock my hi-hats. Now if you haven't done this before or you're not sure what it is, basically all I'm doing is I'm loosening my hats. I'm pressing down on the actual hi-hat to give it some pressure, and then I'm closing it. So what that does is it closes the hats without my foot being on the pedal. And for these warm-ups, you don't want to have a sloshy hi-hat sound. It's just going to be loud. It's going to be a bit irritating. So I like to keep my hats locked for this. Or if you don't want to do that, or if you find it too much of a hassle, you can always play it on the ride cymbal here. As you can see on the sheet music, I do have it notated on the hi-hats for most of them, but feel free to move them to the ride cymbal if it's better for you, if it's easier to balance, or if you don't want to close your hats. So let's get going. All right, now that warm-up was great for isolating both your left foot and your right foot. If you noticed, I tried to make the transition between the two seamless, and that's what you really want to do, is make sure that you're doing the same power and consistency with both feet, and it's a great warm-up to show you if you're doing that or not. Let's go on to the second one here. It's basically the same idea, but we're just going to put those two on top of each other. So you're going to be playing 6/8 notes with your double bass. So for this next warm-up, it's basically the same thing, but what we're going to do is instead of just playing 6/8 notes, you're going to switch it to 6/8 note triplets. And the reason why I do these, I do 8 notes, I do 6/8 notes, and 6/8 note triplets, because these are all some of the most essential feels and note values that you're going to be using on the double bass. So make sure if you're going to practice only 3, practice those 3. So on the fourth warm-up, what we're going to do is we're going to implement both 8 notes and 8 note triplets. This is very important. It's going to teach you how to switch on the fly from an 8 note feel to a triplet feel. It's really cool. Try to get the transition between the two seamless. If you have to crash between the two to make it more apparent, go for it. I have it notated on the ride cymbal here. Better for balance for me with the triplets, but you can also play it on the closed hi-hats. It's completely up to you. It's just a warm-up. Let's go. So when you're setting your metronome up, make sure you're able to play at the speed of the 30-second note. Maybe that might take a bit of adjusting. This one's a great one in a beat or as a warm-up, so give this one a try. So there you have it, 5 warm-ups and a little bit of a stretch that you can do to help build up your muscles, to help get your blood flowing, to warm up yourself so you can actually play with a lot more speed and power. Keep in mind when you're doing these exercises though, they are just designed for warm-ups. So if you're not playing them fast enough or if you're not playing them super tight, don't worry about it too much. They're just designed to warm you up so you can move on to the next section. I'll see you there.